today's episode, we are talking about something that I love to talk about, and that is planning projects. This is huge for me. I could talk for hours, but you know that this podcast is all about giving you quick, actionable things, so I'm going to keep it to a minimum today. So, first up on how to plan a project, you want to get one notebook that you can keep everything in. Now, you guys know that I have a planner that I carry around with me everywhere. I call it my brain. I've even named it. Its name is Piper. It's my brain. The best thing about that planner is all my thoughts are in one centralized location. So no random sticky notes, no searching through the shred bin to figure out where that one piece of paper that I wrote an idea on, not on the back of envelopes from the mail that's recently come in because I didn't, have anything to write on while I was talking on the phone, so I just grabbed the closest thing to me. None of that. Don't do it. Resist the urge to do it, because the problem is you're going to lose it and you won't remember what you wrote it on. It could be on anything, realistically. So by having one centralized place to keep everything. Now, that could be a cute notebook, that could be a planner, that could be anything. Whatever you want to keep with you all the time doesn't matter, as long as you have one centralized location to keep it all in. So in this project planning system, you definitely want to make sure that you're doing a brain dump. So you are, anything that you can think of actually, you're going to want to put onto a piece of paper. So I do this by just kind of word vomiting everything out. So anything that I can think of, even if the task is super minimal, maybe even super easy, like post on social media about it. Duh, like everybody knows that. But this will help get your mind working just by writing. Some people call it scribing, I think, where you just let your brain take over and you just start writing all these tasks that are associated with the project. This will probably help jog your memory and write down some things that you hadn't even thought of. But also, this is a place that you can come back to when you kind of get into the project, because it's one of those things where sometimes you just need to get into a project to start doing it, and then more things come up, more suggestions come about from people that you might be working with. More things come to your mind as you're in the shower or in the middle of the night. Those seem to be the two most common things that happen to me. I'll wake up and think, oh my gosh, I have to write that down. Now, just make sure too that you are keeping everything in that one location, because sometimes I have found myself in the random spots that I am throughout my day of just putting it into my phone notes, but not writing enough of it down so I remember what it was associated with when I go back to look at my phone notes a couple weeks later. So that's another pitfall to keep an eye out for. So once you've got everything written down, you want to take all of those tasks and you want to reduce them down to anything that takes 2 minutes or less. The reason why you want to do this and why it's so important is because once you do that, you're going to schedule everything onto your calendar. You're going to want to make sure that those tasks are getting completed and you've scheduled enough time for them, because here's what can happen. You can start this task and you might realize, oh my gosh, I need to get an opinion, an answer, something back from someone else, and that doesn't typically happen in the same day. Maybe you need to wait a day or two for them to respond back to you. So by scheduling everything out in that block of time, you know that the next day you have the same block of time that's going to be coming and you can respond back to those messages. Now, along those lines, you want to make sure that you have your delegation list handy too. So something that I have started doing is, if it's a task that I know that I can't do, or let's be perfectly honest, that I don't want to do, I have a delegation list that I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to hand that off to Brock. I'm going to hand that off to Roland. I'm going to hand that off to Kevin, because it's just things that I don't know how to do, or that they can do so much faster than I can. It doesn't make sense for me to try to muddle my way through it. Just give it to them, have them do it, and check it off the list. So these are 4 easy steps that you can go about planning a project.